Well, welcome back to the kitchen, and I'm preparing pies again, or repairing pies, should I say. This one is a classic case of get finger poking and mitten grabbing mit bloody fucking. Some of the things that were going on in here were very strange indeed. They put a sintered bronze collar over the capstan, which meant that when you press the pause button, nothing happened except it spewed tape everywhere because the pinch roller and capstan, because of the capstan's increased diameter, wouldn't go out of drive. Deep joy. Add to that some very strange looking hubs indeed that didn't hold the reels on properly anymore, and the pulley on the motor being off another machine completely. The shaft had been drilled out on this pulley, the hole, to fit supposedly this motor. It did nothing of the sort, so what with that running eccentrically and then the collar on the capstan being covered in bruises where they pushed it on, you were on to a loser really. And the speed wasn't quite right, it was fluttery. Well, fortunately they hadn't completely wrecked the whole thing by completely redneck rigging the whole item, and I was able to replace the motor pulley with one from a donor machine, and then believe it or not, that collar thing actually just pressed off. I didn't even have to resort to using a puller to get rid of it. Another thing was that the mechanics were absolutely full of gunge and horrible brown nicotine stuff, dried up grease, as well as the usual Phillips gunge, and that's bad enough. We've put it in the casing of the donor machine because though the donor machine was a Phillips, the casing is in better nick than the one on this PYE badge version, which is the 9137. And you might think I've got a VU meter out here. I don't. What happens is this is a 4-track machine which also can play back and record in stereo, and when you're using it as stereo, both these are illuminated and both move. So we've got it on one of the 4-track settings, so when you switch it to the other one, this comes on and that one goes out. There are 3 speeds. The machine was stuck in the high speed, which doesn't surprise me really, because if you tried to play it back at this speed, which is the medium 3 3/4 or 9.5 centimeters a second, it would have sounded dire. And as for 1 7/8 or 4.75 centimeters a second, don't even try to go there, would have been my guess. So having cleaned this out and replaced the speakers, of course, because one of them did sound buzzy, it's now back to working as it should, firing on all cylinders. They're a nice machine to have if you can get one that works well and hasn't been finger poked by Das Scheitskopf with no knowledge. Otherwise, it's possible frustration mit tangle tape and them bloody fucking and throwing across and roomin', as they never said in Germany, I'm sure. You can run this on US mains voltage as well. If you do, of course, that's at 60 cycles a second, and what you do is to take the motor pulley off, invert it, put the belt round the smaller diameter, and the increased frequency will speed your motor up, but the machine will continue to run at the right speed. 2 loudspeaker sockets for external speakers, a mute switch there, although they do sound pretty nice through their own internal speakers. They're about 6 by 4 inches, I suppose. And then DIN sockets for radio, phono, and 2 mics, left and right here, or a stereo mic. But certainly well worth keeping. This one smelled absolutely foul inside, and it still is wafting a bit, but this will hopefully go away in time. As for the other one, the wreck, well, I think I'll put it in the junkie shed because I don't want it stinking the house out. Oh dear. The joys of working on old equipment, eh? Anyway, I hope you're having a good New Year so far. The weather down here where I am has been absolutely shit, and I think I might be changing my weather supplier very soon. Anyway, on that daft note, keep well and see you soon.